My name is Yankee Casey, and you're listening to Danny C Talking Sports. I got on my podcast today my good friend Steven over here. How you doing, sir?
Good, man. Doing good. Good to be back, bro. Second time
Good
on
to
a
be back.
podcast.
Yeah,
Excited
it's
though.
your second time, bro.
Yeah, man.
All right, let's
Excited.
do it. Yeah, it's very exciting. I'm glad to have you back on.
Thank you, bro.
Uh,
Appreciate.
so on today's podcast, we're going to talk some Knicks. Things are, approaching. But we're about to head into the postseason, and so we'll talk about a little bit of that. I want to first talk about our Knicks because we're both big fans over here, and we're doing great, man, this year. And I love
100%.
last night's win. Get into that a bit, and yeah, man, it's exciting. We're sitting right now at 43 and 33. We're the fifth seed. We're 2.5 games now, actually 3 games ahead of Miami, who just lost to Toronto, so that's good for us. And then I think Brooklyn, we're still only 2.5 games ahead, so that's fine. But yeah, very exciting. I'm glad we're to see where we're at and how we came from last season's disappointing year, especially for a guy like Julius Randle, not going into this year and him bouncing back, and along with the Knicks as well. So we could get into last night's game, but how do you feel about this Knicks team in general, and especially heading into the postseason, especially if we are able to get there, which I hope we do. And yeah, man, what do you think, man?
I think we're doing great, man. I mean, they had us we're overachieving, right? Like, if I
Yeah,
don't
hundred
remember
percent.
exactly what they had us at, but I think they had us projected to be a play-in team. Barely making the play-in.
Yeah,
And I remember just in like free agency, we had we have the best free agent signing. Like Jalen
Jalen
Brunson's the man. Like
Brunson. Jalen Brunson, the best free agent signing
he's
for the Knicks for. It's what you could argue even in the NBA in general for a
since
lot of
Amari.
teams. Yeah,
100%. Yeah. I for sure that was the best free agent signing this summer, like easily out of every team. And he's having an all-star like season. He could be all NBA. I don't remember the
there's a
last
chance.
guy
Yeah,
that yeah, like I don't remember the last time a guy didn't make the all-star team but made all NBA, so that'll be
yeah.
big. We have two guys on our team that
Julius
have been
Randle,
pretty
obviously
durable, man.
himself. You know,
Yeah, yeah. Two guys on our team that have been pretty durable. Gonna be all NBA talent. We have all NBA players on our team. They've been reliable. It's been a good season, man. Overachieving for sure. Definitely exciting times for us, man, for sure.
yeah, man, 100%. I just let's get into like the Jalen Brunson effect. Just how he's been able to elevate our team with his playmaking and just his scoring output as well. And I just love that we're able to have a guy like that who's able to
For sure.
calm down the offense. Just all right. If we're struggling, he's able to. All right, guys, let's. Because we actually have a legit point guard. We actually have a
Yeah.
legitimate point guard who could run the offense. Not a guy like Elfrid Payton anymore, and
Yeah.
he's able to run the
100%.
offense with ease, and especially when he's
Yeah.
able to attack in the paint and post up guys at his height too, which is crazy to me. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just think if we had like one solid, we have Grimes. I'll give us that, but maybe like another solid shooter and way better scorer, I think we would be
Mhm.
more than elite. But we're getting there. I feel like we're just that one piece away. But I just been loving
Yeah.
what Brunson's been doing for us, especially in the month of January. He was averaging like 30 a game. This is crazy to me.
Yeah.
But
He was big time, dude.
yeah, no, and he's just been great, man. I just we need him to obviously stay healthy, which is the most important thing.
Mhm.
And as of recent, the past couple weeks or so, he's been missing games. So hopefully, maybe tomorrow's game against Miami, he'll be able to come back and just hopefully win the next couple games because we need him come playoff time. And I think that's what the Knicks are trying to get him ready for because maybe they're assuming that we're going to make it, but we can't make it. We could
Can't
technically,
make noise
we
with
have
that.
quickly has been huge for us, especially last night
For
dropping a
sure.
40 piece against Miami. So
Houston.
yeah,
Houston. Against Houston. 40 piece against Houston.
sorry,
You
yeah,
hear
we
me?
had a 40 piece against Houston.
Yeah.
So
No, you're
makes
good. You're
sense.
good. No worries. No worries.
Appreciate it.
Got Miami coming up. Got
Got
Miami
Miami
coming
coming
up
up.
though. Yeah, but yeah, dude. Like we really need him to be healthy going into the playoffs. That's for sure. I think Tibbs has had that narrative built around him that he overplays his guys, and like I think you kind of saw that when he came back. I feel like JB kind of came back early in that Sacramento game. He
Yeah,
left early in
100%.
that first half.
He wasn't ready.
But right now they're prioritizing his health for sure going in.
Which is
But
the most important
yeah,
thing.
man, the Knicks, dude, they've been balling, dude. I feel like credit to the front office, man. You look at Leon Roseman, like they just made all the moves, dude, like all the right moves. Like you look at, I remember that we were getting laughed at from the summer, and honestly, I was a
Yeah.
frustrated fan in the summertime. We gave away our 11th pick, and it was like we were making all these moves for Jalen, and we put so much faith into him, and like he's done nothing but delivered and then some. He
Then some.
he should have been an all-star. He really
And
should
it's
have.
crazy because that
Uh,
contract,
the
104, I
guard,
think 110 million, you could argue that he's underpaid, and he is
for sure, right? He is right now, and it's the
100%.
beginning of his contract,
The
and
first year of his
and the
contract.
and the contracts, it's only gonna drop by his fourth year. I don't know exactly what the number is, but he's gonna just keep making less and less money by the year, and he's going to get paid. All if he's healthy and he's
Yeah.
still performing to that level, which I expect him to do, he will get paid. Hopefully, we extend this contract. I would
Yeah,
love to have him
he should
around,
be able
but
to get his extension come the third or fourth year, I believe. But at
yeah,
least by the end of obviously, of course. So and he, especially if he
I,
keeps
I have
himself
to check
healthy.
on that, but yeah, just the effect, man, of having a good point guard. Like you look and listen, you're a suffering Knicks fan. I am as well. So it's like
Yeah,
we want all
we've
the
suffered a
success
lot.
as fast as
Yeah,
possible.
100%.
And you just look at the list of point guards, dude. Jose Calderon, Shane
Jose
Larkin, yeah, Raymond Felton, and like just
Trey Burke,
yeah, Trey Burke, just so much. Langston Galloway, like you could just go
Langston
down the
Gallo. I
list,
actually
and
like
it's
it,
like
Langston though.
yeah, he was good too for a team that was going like what, winning,
We were like
barely winning 20
14
games,
and 60 something. Yeah,
yeah, dude, just a great just a great upgrade at that spot, and just having a guy like that who just can score at will and could, like you said, just control that when things start getting
control the
hectic.
offense 100%.
Yeah, you see it happen. Like you see we're really missing him right now
Yeah,
because in the clutch we rely on Randall all the
all
time,
the time.
even sometimes with Jalen, right? But like lately, it's like we kind of just go to him, and he cannot. He's not a point forward.
No,
He's not
he's
a
not.
point
And
guard.
he's not the type of guy who's able to create for himself, at least not on a consistent basis. Because
Yeah,
especially when guys are doubling him, and
yeah,
then you have to kick it out to a guy like RJ, who's not really a guy who could create for himself by any means. He'll drive to the basket and he'll get his layups here and there, but he's just not.
yeah,
Julius is better than him in that regard, at least
yeah.
for
And
himself.
and dude, like just having Jalen and quickly, like dude, we talk about the last good point guard we had, bro. Quickly's better than all the other point guards we've had too.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So we
Especially
have
this year.
two of those guys right now. And I remember quickly his rookie season, just seeing his skill set on display.
I
And I
loved
remember
quickly in his rookie season.
I loved him.
He was great.
And I was saying back then, I was like, he could be better than RJ one day. And right now, I really do believe he's the third best player on the Knicks. I really do. And I think,
Yeah.
listen, I'm if I had to vote for six man of the year, I'm gonna be biased and give it to my man, Quick. But
Yeah.
he's so
It's
good,
tough
dude.
because he started a lot of games. He started like 17, 18 games now. And
Mhm.
Brogdon, I think he's been on the bench for most of those games, so they're probably going to give the edge to Brogdon, especially with Boston being the higher seed.
For
I
sure.
would love for Quickly though to be the sixth man because you see a guy who played for us in J.R. Smith who started a lot of games as well, but also came off the bench
Yeah.
primarily, and he won sixth man of the year, and he was
Yeah.
averaging like 18 a game. Quickly's only averaging like 12 to 14, but you take into account the games that he started in, him putting up around like 20 a game.
Yeah.
So you definitely take that into consideration, of course. But we'll see. Hopefully the league, realizes that like
I,
I think Quickly is the more deserving player in my eyes and obviously your eyes as well.
I think it's a two-man race right now. I probably, with my bias aside, I probably give to Brogdon just because like he's been so solid for them all year
Yeah, hundred
round,
percent.
and they've been good. They've had their slumps. Boston's on a little slump right now, but
Yeah.
regardless, like he's been performing. He's been there. Quickly's been there. Um, and yeah, dude, I'm excited. I'm excited to see how the season pans out. But having two good point guards with the skill set, and they both have really different skill sets. Jalen likes to get in the paint, likes to get both feet in the paint, throws a lot of fakes, a lot of good footwork, good mid range shooter, can hit the three
Right.
ball. And Quickly's your more traditional NBA guard today, likes to pull up from three, very good in the pick and roll, as is Jalen. Great floater.
The
And
floater.
you know what I've been noticing a lot with Quickly, I was watching that 40 piece, right? We mentioned that 40 piece against
Yes.
Houston. I've noticed a lot of mid-range pull-ups. Like he gets into his pick and roll, craps his
And he'll
defender,
go right in. Yeah.
and just right into that little lean or that little baby jump shot.
And he'll
And
sometimes
that's
draw
made
on
him
the
so
foul,
good.
which is
Yeah.
huge. He'll get it like a 3-point play or a 4-point play
Yeah,
sometimes.
sometimes and like he's a great free throw shooter, and he's just gotten so much more efficient. And number one, he's just maturing in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
I saw a couple plays yesterday where he didn't settle for a jump shot and would take it to the rack. Whereas his early seasons, he's taking these wild threes in transition,
Yeah.
like he
He's
has a
he's playing efficiently, which again, take the game like
yeah
yesterday, he was 14 for 18.
yeah
And there was a stat where I think he's like one of 4 players along with him, Will Chamberlain, where he was
yeah
able to shoot so efficiently, drop 40 points, and I think he had like 9 assists, right? That game.
80 yeah an 80% shooting as well.
80% shooting. So
That's
that's what I'm
incredible.
saying.
Yeah,
And
30-year
he's just
player.
taking a lot smarter shots because there's times where, especially this year, he would just like force like threes out of nowhere
Yeah,
just for no.
for sure.
Even
Yeah.
a game like yesterday, I seen him do that a couple times, and that was where like 2 of his 4 misses.
Yeah.
But the
Heat
14 shots that he
checks.
made, those were efficient, great shots.
Yeah. If it open threes,
Open,
a
yeah.
lot of good looks in the pick and roll, a lot of takes to the rim. And one thing about him, dude, his defense, man. Like
His
he
defense,
really
like he was never a good defender. At least I have never seen him play
yeah.
good defense in the past like 3 years. This
Mm.
year, he's there. He's one of the top defenders. I feel like maybe not in the league, and maybe I'm
Definitely on the
pushing it,
team.
but on the team, 100%.
Mm. He's been phenomenal. And like one thing I'll say, it's hard to really say like, oh, he was a bad defense. Like it just the thing is with
He was a
him,
decent defender, but I just feel like the effort wasn't there enough.
yeah, he was also on a short leash though, with Tibbs. You know how Tibbs is with his rookies. Like even now, he's not averaging a ton of minutes, like he's getting his minutes now, but it's not like he's averaging 30 minutes a game. I
Yeah,
have to see exactly how much, but no, Tibbs is definitely trusting him
yeah,
he's basically like the sixth starter for us now, you know?
yeah,
But
100%.
he's playing phenomenal. Well, now he's averaging 28.5
20,
minutes a game, so
20 and a
he's
half.
getting
Yeah.
his run. He's getting his run for sure. So that was my mistake, but he's getting his run. He's been a closer.
I mean, you got to also take into account the games that he started, which is why his minutes are up there.
Yeah,
But
no, yeah, for sure.
he's been huge for us. So very happy about that, and I'm just because I've been wanting to see Quickly bounce back, and this is a great year for him. I hope he
100%.
gets 6 man of the year, and
He's gonna get paid, dude. Gonna get paid.
100%.
Better get
That's
paid.
another thing though, especially if he gets paid. Well, he's gonna get paid. That's gonna be huge for us, but we have to pay him. I think we need to have a guy like him.
Yeah.
At least being our 6 man. You could argue you could put him in the start because I was thinking about this yesterday. I don't know if you would agree, but I feel like you would. You could put him in the starting lineup, and I feel like put RJ as your 6 man because
100%.
he runs with the second unit anyways, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like if anything, this could be better for RJ because he's not gonna like that he's coming off the bench. But no
Yeah.
player is,
Yeah.
especially when he's been starting for pretty much his whole career so far.
Mhm.
He's never came off the bench as far as I'm concerned. So you have him as the 6 man, and then maybe he does even better. But the thing is, like he's not even really having a bad year. There's just a lot of he's averaging around 20 a game. It's just he's not able to really create for himself like that. He doesn't really have a bag, you could say.
Yeah.
But he gets his 20 points.
Yeah, no, listen.
Take yesterday's game. He was actually pretty efficient too.
Yeah.
So if he's playing like this and he's getting around 20 a game, I just need to see that come playoff time. That's the most important thing for me.
I believe he had like, what was it, 19 last night? Yeah, 19.
Yeah, and
He ended up with 19 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 for 12. Did go 6 for 9 at the free throw line. That's been a struggle with him.
But he's been slightly better at the free
No,
throw line
yeah,
as of
he
recent.
has.
Just last
He
night,
has.
not so much. But you know,
Listen, I said it. I'm critical of him.
we all
and
are. A
we
lot of
all
Knicks.
are.
Yeah,
But the reason for that is, he's in his fourth season and
yeah.
he's getting paid $30 million a year. You look at a guy
I mean,
like
he's also a
Jalen
top 3
Brunson.
draft pick. In
Yeah,
the same draft as Zion and John
John-
Morant.
You look at a guy like Jalen, we say he's getting underpaid and he's overperforming. And we got a guy like RJ who's getting paid more than Jalen and he's underperforming. I mean, he's still putting up the same numbers
The thing is,
as a
RJ
third
was putting up the
option.
same stats as he did last year.
Yeah,
And it just there's no improvement. Like we expect RJ, especially with the contract he got this summer, to maybe elevate his game to average around 22 to 23 game.
Yeah.
Which is, sure. I mean, I feel like you would expect that, especially with a contract like that.
100%. Yeah.
But now you have a guy like in Brunson who got his contract around 110 million, and he's averaging around 24 and 6. Impressive, very impressive.
And I love this. I was saying this the other day. I was like, you finally see the same guys coming in every year. Same coach, same starting lineup, like just same core. Like that core is the same, as opposed to, who's going to be the next star on the next, or who's going to be the next. Like we have the same group of guys year in, year out for the past 3-4 years.
Yeah,
and it's our young guys, Mitch, RJ, quickly, Julius, JB. Now he's going to be a part.
And I like that, especially if we're able to win with this lineup.
Yeah,
and we have been the past 2 or 3
sure.
years. I mean, we're going to probably make the playoffs this year, hopefully, and that's great. And just imagine, naming it won't happen for at least another few years, but especially if we're hopefully going to be able to keep the same team, maybe if not improve upon it. But at least our core guys like Julius, RJ, and even Brunson, maybe even Mitch, to be able to win a championship, that's just amazing. That would be amazing, because that's like having like Patrick Ewing and John Starks to be able to win one. Obviously, they didn't, but if they were able to, because they were on the team for so many years,
it would have been worth it.
See,
let's see, man. It's a luxury, bro, to have a bunch of young guys on contracts that are performing, because you can use these guys to acquire a star.
Yeah, to bring in guys like honestly, because I'm glad that we didn't pull the trigger on the Zach LaVine trade that was going around during the All-Star break, but or before the trade deadline. But if we're able to like acquire a guy like him come free agency when his contract is up, that would be huge, because especially if we're going to be pay him like not the crazy, of course, but we need a guy like him, or just anybody who's able to score at his level, or maybe just a little slightly less, and obviously play defense as well. And I feel like that's the piece that we're missing, or because I feel like now that we have like a wing defender in Josh Hart, which I want to get into, by the way, in a little bit, a guy like OG Anunoby would be huge for us as well. So
100%. I think the next move for the Knicks to really make that leap, because right now we're like, flirting with that 5th seed, that 4th seed. I mean, right now it's the ceiling is the 5th seed, right? Cleveland clinched the 4th.
Cleveland
not clinched the 4th,
but
they clinched the playoffs, but they will have the 4th seed.
Yeah.
But right now it's looking like the 5th seed. You got a couple easy games. I don't want to say easy, but you got Indiana, you got the Pelicans. Who else was there for the Knicks? Regardless, I think we're gonna get that 5th seed. But the next upgrade for them to make that leap from a middle of the pack to an elite team is you need an upgrade on the wings. Like Jalen Brunson, I don't want to say is as good as it gets at the point guard spot, but if you got 23, 24 points per game on efficiency, doesn't make too much mistakes, isn't a super big turnover guy, knows how to, he's poised, great leader on the court, off the court, vocal. It can get better at the point guard spot, but you can win big games. You can win a big. You can. I want to say you can win a championship with him at the point guard spot. I think you can. It really just depends on who you're surrounding him with. And I think the leap for the Knicks to make is to have that massive upgrade at the wing. Like we look at Boston. That Jaylen Brown situation. The Knicks got to monitor that. I think the Knicks got to monitor that in the next 2 years. He'll be an unrestricted free agent after the next season. And that's a guy you really got to go all in for.
100%.
Or if
and
it's
play defense too.
Or so. Yeah, he's one of the best two-way wing. You could argue he's the best shooting guard in the league. He's an all-NBA player. You know, some people think he's better than Tatum. I don't. But
you can make the argument though. There's been times where he's shown that like he could be better than Tatum, but he's obviously I don't think he is.
He was in the finals. I think he was in the finals. You know.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, Jaylen Brown was the better player. Tatum just did not have it. So
listen, you know it happens. I mean, I'm not saying he had a horrible series, but turnover prone. Like people thought that Jason Tatum had the most turnovers in a playoff run. They had like 2 Game 7s. You know, it's a lot of games being played when you're the first guy. 100%. You're gonna turn the ball over. So I'm not really.
It was his first finals.
Yeah,
first. I feel like especially if they're able to get there again, which I think they still can going. You know, for this year.
Yeah, Tatum. He's had a lot of playoff success early on, man. Rookie year, Game 7, made the finals last year.
25 now, right?
25. So. Yeah, he's a young dude, man. Listen, Boston got a good duo there, and they're just not appreciating Jaylen enough. And I think if you're the Knicks, man, that's the guy you want alongside a Jalen Brunson. That Jalen backcourt would be everything. I'm telling you right now.
You know who I would love to have that is connected with Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart? I think you know who I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
He's literally right in the other bro right now.
Yeah, Mikal
Bridges. I mean, huge. I mean, it just sucks. He's in Brooklyn right now, dude.
He's phenomenal, man. And you know for sure that they're having those dinners, those 3 guys. They're right there. They're neighbors. Trying to get him to come to Ignazio's, you know. Yo, Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson.
Come to New York.
I mean, Brunson, Hart, Bridges. Y'all see this? Come visit me at the pizzeria I work at, dog. Give him free slices.
Just imagine, especially if we insert Hart like in the starting lineup, which I feel like we should have already, but what it is. I'm cool with Grimes.
Yeah.
Brunson, Hart, Bridges.
Yeah, Grimes gives you that more, you know, offensive. He's more of an offensive threat.
Yeah.
But there's things that Josh Hart does on offense that Grimes doesn't, but you want the floor as stretched out as possible.
Well, especially with his transition play.
Yeah.
Which is huge. He's able to go from like coast to coast.
Coast to coast, yeah. Josh, right? Yeah. No, he's an underrated ball handler, underrated passer.
Yeah, let's talk about Josh Hart actually.
Yeah, man, that was a win.
Huge. You could argue it's basically like the same effect as to what D Rose was for us 2 years ago.
Yeah, but it's a different feel though.
It's a different feel, but it's like it's the same energy because, take the 9-game winning streak we had a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
and he was a huge part of that. I feel like
huge part. Yeah, he wasn't. There were some games where he would have 4 points, but
those 4 points
didn't feel like it.
Exactly.
It felt like just he does.
Those 4 points were on top of like the 10 rebounds and the 6 assists.
Yeah,
his defense,
3-4 steals. Like, dude, he's such a glue guy, and for him to be undersized, like rebounding,
6'5",
for him to be that not short, but like in the NBA, that's below average, and for him to be that good of a rebounder at that side is such a luxury to have because there can be some games where you can slot him at the 4 depending on who's on the court on the other team. If they're going small, you can go small. I mean, he could definitely play the 3. Maybe playing him at the 4 will be a stretch, but is it
a stretch? But I mean,
if he can rebound the ball and match up well, he can guard. He's a strong guy, and he's been a luxury. And we only had to give up 1 first-round pick. So, listen, for years it was what are the Knicks doing? What are the Knicks doing? Clearly, they're trying to build a culture and win.
Yeah.
Not saying they don't prioritize picks, but if they can acquire some young guys who can be. We got to sign him back. That's first off.
Yeah, no, I think the priorities this summer, I think it's is quickly his contract going to be up. I have to make sure that
I have to make sure, but I know he's going to get paid.
Either way, if it's not this summer, whenever I think Josh Hart's contract's
I
up.
believe Quickly's probably going to be getting paid this summer. It's his third year.
So either way, you pay Quickly and Hart this summer, 100%. If not
Yeah.
next summer, whenever their contract's up, and you
You're-
extend both of them, because I know Hart wants to stay with the Knicks,
yeah.
which is huge, you know,
Yeah.
and he's gonna be able to experience his first playoffs, which is what he wants. So
Yeah. Oh, for
I
sure.
feel like, especially
That's
come
right.
playoff time, a guy like Josh Hart is gonna be huge
He's
for
going to
us.
thrive on that
Thrive.
energy. Oh,
It's gonna
thrive.
be
He's going to
awesome.
loose balls. He's going to go dive in the crowd.
Yeah, no, I feel like he's the kind of player that like he lives for that,
He lives
that
100%.
playoff energy.
Yeah,
And he's
100%.
going
he
to
brings
be
that. He brings that game. He'll bring that game 37 of the regular season.
Yeah.
He's
You
going
don't need
100 miles
Josh
an
Hart
hour.
to get 20 a game for you. He could get you 20 somehow.
Yeah.
He could do it somehow.
Yeah.
But it's all the other intangibles he brings to the team, which is what a guy like Thibodeau, loves in a guy like Josh Hart. And so that was one of the best trades the Knicks have made in, I feel like, I would argue ever, but I have to look back in history.
Ever would be a stretch. We have to go down that line and see, but definitely a great trade nonetheless.
Yeah, especially when we just got him. But he has been great for us so far, and I just love that we have a guy like him on our team.
Yeah, we talk about OG and Anunoby. The rumors were 3 first-round picks. Like, if you're asking me,
hey man, we got a guy like Josh Hart on a discount. We just gave up a first-round pick, right?
And he does things that OG can't do. Like OG doesn't really have the handle he does. He can't go coast to coast.
I don't. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think OG could go coast to coast like a guy like Josh Hart could. So.
Yeah. No, dude, that was a big acquisition, man, and he just does so many things, and like having
he's
him,
a decent 3-point shooter too. He's not like, especially when he's open, he's in his shots, good majority of the time.
Having him and Quickly off the bench, is great because like we talk about RJ not being that creator or closer. That's you could have one of those guys fill in for him. You could play them both on the floor at the same time. And back to that RJ thing, I agree with you on not benching him because I don't want to shatter the guy's confidence. I still think he should start.
I think he should still start. I wouldn't be opposed to trying to see him coming off the bench maybe 1 or 2 games.
Yeah,
but I feel like it's too late into the season to try out that method, especially when we need to win these games. If we were able to try that earlier in the year, maybe we could have seen how that would have played out. But honestly, I think Quickly off the bench, as much as I would love for him to start, I think should still come off the bench because we're going to need – because I'd rather have a guy like Quickly anyways over RJ coming off the bench because Quickly is able to bring more of that offensive flow and just that, he's actually our point guard coming off the bench. So I'd rather have him than 100%. Having Brunson and Quickly next to each other. Just doesn't really make too much sense, especially we don't play Derrick Rose.
Yeah, dude. And like – and the thing is with Quickly, like I like him coming off the bench because he could find his own offense.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's why he thrives so much.
Yeah.
There's nobody really taking his shots. He's the one taking, his 10 to 14 shots or how many shots he puts up a game. So
he's amazing, dude. You could play him on the ball, off the ball. Yeah, 100%. I like that. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised if we're down 2-0 or 2-1 to Cleveland in the first round. Don't be surprised if RJ gets taken out this starting lineup for Quickly. Or
I could definitely see that happen. If Tibbs wanted to do that, I could even see Josh Hart starting.
100%, bro.
But just think about it. You keep a guy like Grimes, and then you put Josh Hart in there, and then you have Quickly and RJ come off the bench. That'd be insane.
Yeah, and Quickly and RJ like playing together too. I see.
Yeah, that's why I feel like it would be perfect. You bench both, and then see how that goes. Because I wanted Josh Hart anyways in the starting lineup, and I feel like he just would fit perfectly. Yeah. And you're right next to a guy like Grimes.
Guy like him fits with everybody. Josh, he fits with everybody, every lineup. Put him at any position but the center spot. He's a dog. He's a dog.
Yeah. Speaking of that center spot. Let's talk about a little bit about Mitchell Robinson. So there's been obviously some controversy with him as of recent, especially with him on Twitter. What the thing is, he apologized for that and all that, but the thing is, you got to develop a post game, man. If you want to be able to get shots on the offensive end, for context, like Mitchell Robinson was, talk about on Twitter how he I think he retweeted somebody's post from what I know.
He was on
somebody was.
Snapchat too. He
Yeah,
on
yeah. Oh, it was on
Snapchat.
Snapchat.
He
Sorry, it was
was
on
saying
Snapchat.
he was like, they got me doing cardio out there,
Yeah, the
man.
cardio
Like
out there, right?
he feels like he's being not being used, you know. But like, listen, when you're a guy at that size and you don't really have a bag or a skill set or like a post game, like you said, and it doesn't even have to be a post game, dude. Like if he was, cause he's good in the pick and roll, right?
Yeah.
He's a lob threat, but like
Yes.
if if you're in the pick and roll and you catch the ball in the short roll, you could rise up at the foul line or inside the paint for a little jump shot.
Yeah, just a little
But he
jump. Yeah.
doesn't. But he doesn't
Easy.
have that to his game. You know, he's not rely like with him. It's a
I've seen him
pick.
do it a couple times, but it's never consistent.
That's what I'm saying. It's like if you're not consistent enough, like if you don't have a deep enough skill, and you're only known as a lob threat or a rebound and go back up with a putback guy, that's how you're gonna
Yeah.
score your
And the way
buckets.
he gets his offensive rebounds and tries to put back the up the ball, it's like
Yeah, yeah,
he's sometimes just sloppy with it, and
yeah.
it's
He's
and then
not
you don't
too.
get a foul.
He's not the most coordinated, and that's the thing. You're not a good free throw shooter. You know
Yeah,
why do we
that's
want
another
the
thing. If
ball in your
you
hands?
know how you get more points, work on your free throw game because
Yeah,
that you get fouled, you get hacked all the time, and then you get sent to the free throw, and then you make one or two free throws, which he's been slightly better about on the free throw. I will give him that. He's actually been pretty good this year for the most part, but work on your free throw game, man.
dude. And
And you know things because I liked how the Knicks utilized him in his rookie year because he was a lob threat on a consistent basis. He was basically like Tyson Chandler for us.
mm,
I wish the Knicks maybe ran a couple more plays, at least in the pick and roll setting, because you could just he'll catch the lobs. But I feel like Brunson and him should connect more on the in the lob threat because that's it would open the offense a lot more, especially if you're able to do a pick and roll with a guy like
mm,
Mitch. You can't give it to him right now, or I kick it out to a guy like Julius or Grimes on the perimeter.
yeah,
That's it. Once you're
and
able to, set up that on the offensive end, having a guy who you could do like a pick and roll with in Mitch Robinson, it'd be huge.
yeah, and
Hartenstein's been a lot better. I'll give him that. At least on the rebounding side of things and slightly on defense. But yeah, man, Mitch just he needs to work on a post game, something.
yeah, he's just got to develop some kind of. He's got to have that
Even
soft
if he can
touch,
make
though.
somehow a mid range shot, like
Yeah,
develop that.
yeah,
But I don't know.
and
I don't see it happening.
yeah, and like he's just gotta he's got to make smarter decisions. One thing I noticed, they do have to. It's when Jalen has the ball, it's a lot of two-man game with him and Julius, which you want. They're your
Yeah.
best two players. Like I forgot the stat, but I think they have the most assisted and scored baskets in the NBA. I think they're top three between the two. Like Jalen to Julius assist or Julius to Jalen assist. Like they have a lot of assisted scored baskets together. So that's good to see your top two guys working together. But like you said, you do want to run that pick and roll with Mitch, your lob threat, just to put more pressure on the rim. Because
That's what I'm saying.
Julius,
It's 100%.
Julius isn't. I'm not saying you can't throw him a lot, but he's not really a above the basket kind of guy.
Yeah.
Whereas a Mitch, where he slash into the rim, is going to put more pressure because of his size and athleticism. And you put a guy like that around the rim, it's normally easy 2 points if you're lobbing it. Like RJ and Mitch, they work in the pick and roll, and they're
Oh yeah,
probably
all the time.
and
They're
they're
the ones
probably
who
like
are
the
more
two
consistent about it
more
than
like
maybe a guy like Brunson and Mitch.
yeah, and they're like the two less skilled players in the lineup. So it's like if those two can get rolling, Jalen and him can really get it going. I just think it's really how the offense is set. Julius is just he's been an amazing scorer for this team, and having listen, I want those two to work together, but if you want to make a deep run in the playoffs, like I get Mitch, I get you. You want to be who knows, right? Because he's saying involve me more in the offense. Maybe he means more pick and rolls. Maybe he's not talking about let me work.
Yeah.
Maybe he wants more pick and rolls ran for him, and I
That's
understand
all he
that.
needs to do, though, and
Yeah,
he could get easy
N-
10 points a game like
yeah.
that.
He gets what 8 points. Listen, know your strengths. You're not a
Yeah,
skillful
and
player.
that's what he has to realize. At the end of the day, you're not here. You have to realize that what we need from you,
Yeah,
which is defense and rebounding.
defense, rebound, run the floor, set
100
picks and rolls, and just be a force on both ends.
Yeah, 100%.
Whether it's on the glass. eh,
Especially on the offensive glass, because he's able to sometimes he'll be able to put it back up a shot,
Yeah,
whether it be just a put back dunk or etc. Or he could just kick it out to a guy on the perimeter and then we could reset the offense. And
yeah,
he's done that over and over again this season, and he's been huge for us. And I feel like he's been having a pretty good year. I understand maybe he's not as involved in the offense this year, but he's still like he's averaging like I think 8 a game, as you said.
I think it's
So
8 and 8 right now. I believe
yeah,
8 and 9 or something like that. Listen, you're basically a double guy. 7.3 points and 9 rebounds a game, 1.7 blocks per
yeah.
game. 27 minutes a game, 69%
I
from
wouldn't
the
even
field.
be. I wouldn't even be so mad about the rebounding per se because Julius has been great on the
Oh,
boards this
yeah.
year, helping him out.
Mitch is our best rebounder for sure, even though Julius averages more. Mitch is
Yeah,
definitely our best
that's
rebounder.
why I'm not really that upset about that because like
Listen, if you're Mitchell Robinson, you gotta understand your impact is not on the stat sheet. It's eye
yeah,
test. That's why when we praise Josh Hart, it's not because of his stats. He puts up good numbers,
yeah,
but
because
he,
you can
he
look at
has
his
the
stats
ball
like
more.
let's say he averages like 6'6" and or 6'3" and 4. I don't know what his stats are exact, but let's
It's
say he
10,
was
8.
averaging that.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, this guy sucks. But you have to, as you said, it's the eye test. You look what he does on the floor, and you
he's
see that.
averaging Hart's averaging 9.9 points per game, 7.8 rebounds, 3.9 assists, and 1.2 steals. Very spread out stat sheet.
Very spread out.
He's basically almost a double guy. He's
And the
averaging
assists are
more.
underrated too. 3-point assists for
Yeah,
forward, the guard
yeah.
forward. It's huge.
He's averaging more rebounds, and he's averaging more points than
And
Mitch.
he's the best rebounding guard in the league, as far as I'm
Yeah,
concerned.
arguably, you can really
Arguably.
argue that. Yeah, and he's been fantastic, dude. But Mitch has been good, dude. I think he's having a good year. Like I just looked at the shot attempts. He's only getting 4 shot attempts a game. That's what I'm saying. He needs to be more involved in pick and rolls.
I agree 100%. I think he could get 2 or 3, maybe even 4 more shots a game, just to at least try to get himself more involved in the offense, of course, and just it'll be good for the Knicks as well. So I agree with him in that regard, but in only for like lob threats, things that he's actually going to be effective for us.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Julius. I mean, he's the main man. What a bounce back year. And he's had a couple then. Obviously, one of them years being this year for us.
Hmm.
He's averaging around 25 a game. It's been huge.
Top 10
I
score.
mean, I feel like if we were in the top 4 spot, he could be in the MVP race. He might even be somewhat now, but obviously he's not going to win it. But he's been huge for us, and I'm glad he was able to bounce back because he's obviously gotten a lot of hate, especially last year, with the way his attitude he was showing on the court. Even sometimes this year, especially recently with the whole Quickly situation, which we could get into a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that Julius is back and his mental, as he said,
Yeah.
as he said a lot of times this year, is in the right space. And again, what's most important, obviously, where we're going to judge him most is come playoff time, and if he's able to still
100%. Yeah.
show up. But now I feel like he kind of has no excuses because he's had a great year. He's got a point guard in in Jalen Brunson. I feel like he's got to have to show up, and he has to because we need him. He's arguably our best player. You could say Brunson is as well, however you want to go about it. But my point, he's one of our 2 best players, and he needs to show up. And that's where fans like myself are going to really criticize and see what he's about. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what do you feel about Julius, though, and how he's been this year for us?
I think he's been great, dude. I mean, like you said, right? He's had this is his second bounce back year. Remember that summer with KD and Kyrie going to Brooklyn?
Yeah, and that was his first year for us. And then
Yeah.
he was okay. I think he averaged around like 20 a game, but obviously he wasn't efficient by any means. He was turning over the ball like 4 turnovers a game, and which he's cut down on since then.
Yeah.
So
And he's been great, and he had a great bounce back year. Made All NBA the next. Then last year he was kind of struggling again. He kind of went back to that first year. Julius a little better than the first year,
just
but
slightly
still
better.
still struggling. Not a great year. And then now this year, right? Like he's just great again. Like it all goes back to Jalen, because when you have a point guard like that, that's like I said earlier, like they're top 3 or top 5 and assist to point. Like he's assisted to points. They're one of the better duos in the league.
Yeah,
Like they click more than any other, and it's always Jalen. It's usually Jalen feeding Julius, And when you have a guy like that, that makes Julius play like a true stretch four, like Julius can hit the mid range, he attacks the basket, and he can hit the three. Like, and you need a point guard like Jalen that's really gonna set that table for you, man, and just make
Yeah.
scoring for you easier. Because that All NBA year that Julius had 2 years ago was insane. The dude was playing like point four. He was doing everything,
Yeah.
dribbling. He was making plays. Like he was doing everything. Now he could play more spot up, more pick and roll. Still get his ISO plays in. I'm not saying like because we're always like get the ball out of his hands, get the ball out of his hands.
I don't
But
mind it nowadays,
yeah,
especially when his ball handling has slightly improved since then.
mhm.
And if he's only doing that like 2 to 3 times a game, and especially if he's making his shots, it's all, it's all good then.
As long as he's doing it in space and isn't over
That,
dribbling, I don't
yeah,
mind it. You look at a guy like KD, who I think right is the greatest scorer ever, right? And
yeah,
like
you
arguably,
definitely
you
could
can
argue
really
that.
and he does not take a lot of dribbles, and that's why he fits in any system he plays in
Yeah,
because he 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 lets the point guard rock. He lets the
it's also
ball
because he
handlers do
also
their
knows his
job.
spots by now. Going,
Yeah,
he's been playing for what, 15 years now.
yeah.
So
But he's been like that, you know.
he's
He's
been
been
no. That's another thing. He's been like that. I mean, what?
Yeah, but no, I get you. More so now, like when he got to Golden State, he really like
I think
embraced
that's where he
moving
really
down
honestly
the floor.
figured out how to play, especially in like a system based offense like
Yeah.
Golden State has. So yeah, ever since definitely then, maybe a little before that with OKC, of course. He knows his spots, he knows where to pull up and hit the mid range and all that. So and Julius has been doing more of the same, the past like two
Yeah.
or 3 years. But yeah, man. What so just finish off like us talking about the Knicks. What do you think, especially if we're able to make the playoffs? What do you feel like the Knicks should be able to what do you think the Knicks should do to improve upon what they're doing right now so that way they're able to get themselves ready for a team like Cleveland, who they're probably going to be ending up playing in the first round, especially with Cleveland having the home court advantage, all that. What do you think it's going to take for them to honestly compete with a team like Cleveland and then obviously move past going on
Mhm.
to the next round, etc.?
Well, I think right, they're gonna do a lot of film. They're gonna go back to the film room. They got a lot of guys doing that for them. They're gonna do that, and you just got a game plan. You got a game plan and see what matchups. I think you really look at the lineups. It's Darius Garland, D. Mitch, right? They got us beat on the backcourt. Even the front court, man. Their starting lineup is just simply better than ours. I'm not gonna beat her on the bush. It is. They got and that's a tough series for Julius because you got guys like Jared Allen, Evan Mobley. These are really tall, like 7 foot, legit 7 foot guys with real athleticism.
Yeah,
So they're gonna bring a problem to him. He's gonna struggle. I'm not saying that he's not gonna play good, but they've got all around just a better lineup. I think we've got enough talent in that lineup to keep afloat. I think the bench, if we're going to win the series, it's going to come down to
it's
the
going to come down to the
bench.
bench. 100%, I agree.
Josh, Quickly, Hartenstein, Obi, like those are the guys that are gonna take us over the hump.
Yeah,
So I think it's important to know which lineups to put, like against like in those closing moments, like do you go smaller and that way you take a Jared Allen out the game? Like do you put Josh Hart out there and mix it up a little, Josh Hart and Quickly, maybe go small against Mobley and Jarrett, bring them out on the perimeter, maybe abuse them on the perimeter a little. So it's really matchups. I think the series is going to come down to if we win, it'll be the bench.
yeah,
If they win, our bench didn't perform well, and you know, the starters got to show up. Julius has to show up.
has
He's the
to.
key. He is the key. Cleveland's front court, great defensively. They're not super involved on offense. Like, not saying that they're good in the pick and roll with Jarrett and Mobley, but they're more defensive minded, right? Like Mobley and Jarrett, like they're the keys on defense for Cleveland. And I think Julius has to show up. We have to keep afloat. Like the starters have to battle it out with their starters,
Yeah,
and the benchers got to come in and win that series. I think that's the key.
yeah, and also I feel like containing their guards would be huge. Obviously, Donovan and Darius are their main pieces that are going to go out there and dominate. And even a guy like Levert coming off the bench, I feel like is going to be another guy we have to try to contain. But yeah, man, I 100% agree with you. I think it's going to come down to the bench and our starters showing up. Even as crazy as to say, I got like RJ, especially if he shows up along with the other two, and he gets his 20. That's all we need from him, 20 if not more. That would be huge. But of course, it's really just I feel like it's going to come down to a guy like Julius doing what he's been doing this year, and then Brunson as well. And things we beat them before, this year. And
Yeah.
obviously, it's the regular season. It's obviously different than the playoffs, different type of energy, of course, and all that. But I feel like if we've beaten them before, especially in a game where I feel like it was fairly competitive, and that was the game where I feel like it turned our season around, at least the first time, because we had a couple points this year where our season was like, oh, and then we kind of even last night's game against Houston, that kind of like turned our season around in a way, if you want to call it that. But but yeah, man, I 100% agree, especially with their front court being what they are, on the defensive end, and Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. So I feel like if hopefully Mitch holds his own against Jared, which I think he could do.
Mhm.
I don't think Jared has like a crazy post game like that anyways. So it's like it's more so it's just gonna come down to getting those loose rebounds and all that. And then Evan Mobley too, which I believe Julius could hold his own as well.
Mhm.
But it's gonna be tough because obviously Darius and Donovan, it's
Yeah.
gonna be tough to stop. But if we have guys like Grimes and Hart really locking in, I think we could thrive and hopefully maybe even win. I think it's probably gonna go 7 games,
Yeah.
but
I definitely see it being 6 games.
at least 6, but it could go
Mhm.
7.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Hopefully the Knicks win, but yeah, I really think it's going to come down to containing a guy like Donovan, and of course, including a guy like Darius as well. But we'll see.
And yeah, man, to piggyback, like I didn't even mention that. Like I didn't even mention how like we have to contain Darius and D Mitch. Like those two guys, they're the main focal points of the offense. You look at, I mean, Evan and Jared are involved, but it's more so like more traditional big use. They're in pick and rolls. They're getting their own points off of offensive rebounds. Like Evan Mobley isn't like, yeah, he's used, but he isn't really like, they don't really isolate him on the block as much. But I just think those two guys are key in this Knicks series because our best scorer is in the front court, Julius, and those two guys, they're gonna really key in on him. But yeah, right, like we got perimeter guards that can defend, and I'm not saying Jalen Brunson's the best defender in the world, but he tries hard. Quickly's a good defender, and Josh, like I think Quickly and Josh, those two guys are going to be huge in this series because, and RJ if he can step it up on the defensive end, but Quickly and Josh are going to be huge in this playoff series because I think you really want to minimize D Mitch and Darius Garland as much as possible. Because they're going to have the ball in your hands. I think if you can force it out of their hands and get it to Isaac Okoro and have him try and beat you, that'd be more smart. Like if you just lock in on those guys. So that's a great point that I didn't even think about. Darius and D Mitch, that's gonna be the key, man. If they can slow those two guys down and keep Julius rolling, and the bench is playing up, because I'm not worried about Jalen at all. I think he's gonna be great. We saw how he put that 40 piece on Donovan last year, but I think Julius, man, if he could get rolling and the bench is on their game, and we guard Darius and D Mitch well enough, because they're gonna get their 25, 30 a game. It's normal. They're star players. But if we do a good enough job on them, we can pull out the series.
Yes, no, 100%. Especially if we're able to hold them to like 20, 25, under their season average, right?
Yeah.
And just obviously get them to these low percentages, obviously from the field, and from get them as much as possible and get the ball out of their hands
Mhm.
as much as possible to give
Yeah.
it to allow the guys like Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley try to score.
Mhm.
That's what you would want. So.
For sure.
But I think we have to limit the double teams because you don't want to go out and just try to, double team Donovan Mitchell right off the bat. But if necessary, then yes. because if he's putting up 30 and he's just dominating the entire game, maybe double team at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that it's just really it's the guard play. It's really to come down to that.
100%.
Changing those two guards. Grimes even I feel like he has to step up, just hit his shots, because especially when guys are like Brunson or Julius, and especially Julius, who gets double teamed very often, he's going to kick it out to a guy like Grimes, or Hart, or whoever who's on the floor with him at the moment. And guys like Grimes needs to knock down his shots, even quickly too. So
yeah, gotta hit timely threes, right? Like if you're Grimes, quickly, RJ, Josh, let's see. And who knows, man? Maybe what I was thinking? I was like, what if we go deep into the bench and we see some Evan Fournier, D Rose action? You never know.
Yes, I 100% agree with you.
You
on
know,
that. I think they could be huge for us come playoff time, because guys like Derrick Rose and Fournier could help you win a playoff game.
yeah, they could give you what, like maybe 8, 10 good minutes. Like if RJ really isn't giving you that perimeter play you need, there's no shame into reaching and end of that bench and get Fournier and D Rose in for a couple minutes. Not saying play a lot of minutes, but that's why veterans are veterans, man. They stay ready and they know they got to be professional. And having those guys, me and my friend were talking about this, right? Because a lot of people are harsh on Evan, but last year he hit the most threes in a Knicks season like ever. And if you give because RJ gets a lot of wide open looks. If Evan gets those same looks as RJ, maybe he hits those same. Like remember, he had that one big game. I believe it was against Philly. Was it? I'm not sure.
It was against Philly.
Yeah, he had a great game, and he was calling
it
a
huge
one
game
night
for us
stand.
too.
It was a big game, right? Like, and we talked about earlier on the pod, like saying how like, oh, what games turned it around for us. That's one of
that
them.
was one of those games, and Evan Fournier kind of like turned our season around.
That's one of those games. You could look at those like. I wouldn't call the Houston one, the one that just passed, like a game that is turning our season around.
Yeah,
I would say
wouldn't
it's
say
more
that
of
per
a
se, but it was a
must
very
win.
important game for us to win, because we were on a 3-game losing streak.
Exactly. And the season's coming to a close. If you're losing the Houston Rockets on your home floor, heading into the playoffs, that's a problem. It's the last 10 games of the season. You want to beat those key matchups, like Indiana, I believe, is on our schedule twice. Yeah,
Washington,
you
New
want to
Orleans,
beat that. Washington, New Orleans. These are these are solid teams that are in the playoff and the play-ins. Or close to it, and you want those guys. You want them to. You want to beat those teams. Those teams that you feel like, oh yeah, we're better than these guys. You want to. Those are the games you have to win. Like Miami, if you go into Miami and lose, I'm not saying it's okay to lose, but it's like that's a more hard fought battle than against an Indiana or a Washington. Like that's a must win. If you're a fifth seed in the East, which the Knicks are, that's a must win. But in Miami, that's a more tougher challenge. Like we know what Miami can do and has done in the past. So let's see, man. Knicks got to close this out strong. That's for damn sure. I think I think before even looking at Cleveland, handle what you got in front of you, because you gotta go into the playoffs with momentum. That's important. That's why we always see these teams like Boston struggling. That's why you see these guys on ESPN. Is it time for Boston fans to panic? Because you don't want to slump at the wrong time.
Yeah.
You don't want that. Hello?
Yeah, so especially if we close out the season strong, winning, I say at least 4, if not these last 5 out of 6 games, I think that'd be huge, because obviously we'll be able to clinch the 5th spot, and then going into the playoffs, with our heads held high, considering the fact that we've won majority of these last 6 games, and we're looking good, and we want to look good going into our first round matchup against Cleveland, because it's going to be a really tough matchup, and hopefully the Knicks are able to come up on top.
100%, dude. I'm excited, man.
But yeah,
exciting times for the
I'm
Knicks,
excited.
Bro.
I'm trying to go to at least one of those games, but we'll see. The tickets will be crazy, but we just got to get there first, and obviously we're just gonna take this one game at a time, starting with Miami tomorrow, and just go from there. It's one game. And,
I just hope we get that 5th seed. I really don't want to play Philly.
Yeah, now Philly, I wouldn't mind as much, but I don't know. Embiid's good. It's just it's too much. I do not want to deal with all that. I
Yeah,
think
that's a
we could
guy.
hold our
Yeah,
own
that's a
against Cleveland, at least try to. So
offers.
see, man. But speaking of the postseason, though, I guess we could make a little bit of our playoff predictions if you want to get into that a little bit.
For sure, dude. Of course,
So
I'm ready to give my favorite because I've been
yeah,
on
let's
this.
like we could just pretty much get into like our title favorites. Essentially, if you want, we just get into that. So what do you have coming out of the East?
I coming out the East, I got Milwaukee, dude.
You got Milwaukee.
I got them winning everything. That's first off.
I
I,
actually agree with you on that.
I think I think
Get into that.
Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee, man. I think when you really look at, I had them going to the final. I had them winning last year. No, I had the Warriors winning last year. Um,
Yeah,
because like I knew Milwaukee wasn't gonna come out the East because of the Middleton injury. Uh,
yeah, that
Not
was
saying that
huge,
I
bro.
knew it for sure because they went to 7 games, so I was like still hopeful because I wanted them to beat Boston. I was rooting for Milwaukee, but um, I think with Middleton coming back and he's ramping it up now. He's been coming off the bench a lot this year, but I think if he picks it up, I think just
Yeah,
having him,
he got like 30 plus last night. Actually,
yeah, he doesn't have. He's been picking it up. You don't have to be. He doesn't have to be 100%.
yeah,
Having him on the floor, just even at 80%, even a
yeah,
75%. Oh my gosh, 75% Chris Middleton is better than not having him at all. And
yeah,
they really missed
100%.
him in that Boston series, man. And you really saw that. And I think Giannis is the best player in the world. I've been preaching that for a while now.
I 100%
And
agree.
dude, I think just him and the shooting they have around him, with Brooke and Grayson being there, they didn't give him up at the deadline, so that was big for them. I really thought that was a good thing. Signing Goran, they signed Myers Leonard to a contract to end the season. Not saying that these are big game changer
Yeah,
moves. Got Joe Ingles. They just got these chiseled
Bobby
vets, man.
Portis.
Bobby Portis has been huge for them coming off the bench. He started a lot of games this season. Giannis has missed a lot of time, but and and Drew Holiday just being a two-way monster, all-star.
Throughout, it's been huge this year for
They
them.
just constructed the most perfect team, I think, around Giannis and like just the elevation of Giannis's game, bro. Just playing in pick and rolls more, playing like a true big man, and
Yeah,
just posting up more
Brooke
has
Lopez
just
too could be
yeah,
defensive player
bro.
of the year for them.
He might be deep boy, So you got a
That's what I'm
lot of
saying, man.
they're just so stacked from head to toe, dude. So I got them coming out the East, man, and out the West. Damn, man, I feel like I change it every week, but damn,
It's
something just tells me that the Warriors are coming. But people talk about their away record being horrible. Like when you're a
it doesn't
four,
matter come playoff time
that's what
though.
I'm saying.
It
Like
doesn't matter.
if you're a four-time champion in the last 6, 7 years, like
None of that
you
matters.
you got that on and off switch, dude. You're heading into a playoff series against the Warriors. You're not thinking their away record sucks. You're thinking these guys are the champions. You
The
gotta
Golden State
dethrone
Warriors.
you gotta dethrone these guys before you can
Yeah,
talk about they're finished. Finish them first, then say they're finished. They're still there. They're still flirting with that top 5 seed. They're not going nowhere. Their home record is one of the best in the league. You're not gonna beat them at home, and you're telling me all they gotta do is snag one on the road? That's all they gotta do? I got Golden State coming out of the West and Milwaukee coming out the East, and I think Milwaukee gets it done in 6 or 7. I'm gonna stick with Bucks in 6. I believe it. I think Giannis is a complete mismatch nightmare for Golden State and Brook. But damn, dude, like that's a big matchup nightmare for Golden State. I think it's a fun series, but I'm gonna give it to to the Bucks. Unless the Warriors, unless Kevin Looney becomes this athletic monster in the freaking
yeah.
playoffs, I just don't see the Bucks losing that series. I think the Warriors have a chance, but I got the Bucks beating them.
I actually, for the most part, agree with your take. Because I think the Bucks, if not the Celtics, could definitely come out of these. But I have to see if Jason Tatum and company is really going to show what they did was it last year? Last year, and really just bring their game,
Yeah.
do what they've been doing. Well, yeah, for pretty much all year. And I
Yeah.
think their team got better with Brogdon and all that. So, but I mean, when you got Giannis Antetokounmpo, there's no guarding that man. There's just
No,
no. I don't think the Celtics have any answers for him. I don't think Robert Williams is going to be an answer for him.
no.
I think it's probably going to be the conference finals matchup,
Yeah,
but I have to
again,
think
for sure. It might be
the
like that
Bucks
for a while.
are probably going to be coming out of the East. Now with the West, I've been saying, and you might say it's crazy, but obviously it shouldn't be crazy as it sounds. I want to say Denver. I want to deep down because I've always liked their team, especially a guy like Jamal Murray, who has always been like one of my favorite players to watch. But they haven't really proved anything yet. Obviously, this is the year more than anything to do that, especially at least make the conference finals, which I think is very possible. But you have, especially if I think if Jokic wins his third MVP in a row, which I think very much could happen. He's averaging a triple double. He's just been one of the best players on the planet right now. But the thing is, you can't count out Golden State. It doesn't matter whether seed is, as long as they're in the playoffs and fighting for something, you
Yeah,
have to somehow give them that edge. And I think they
yeah,
have their guy. I think what's going to be huge for them, especially if he doesn't come back come playoff time, is missing on a guy like Wiggins because
yeah.
I think he's been one of their key pieces, especially last year in the finals. So not having a guy like him is a huge blow for them. But if Draymond Green he plays his defense, he shows his playmaking, and obviously Curry and Clay show up, and they're not obviously not hurt by any means, or at least 80% themselves, which they've been for the most part this season. And Clay's been pretty good. He's been ramping it up, and he's had his I think what is it 12-3 game this year. I
Nice.
mean
Big time games like that
that's
this
what I'm
year.
saying, man. He's back as far as I'm concerned. And I think come the playoffs, will
Workout.
obviously show this that as well. But I think it's probably going to come down to Golden State or Denver. Sacramento's a very interesting team, but I think they're still obviously very young. This could be their first time in the playoffs, especially for guys like Sabonis and Fox. They could probably go into the second round along with Memphis as well. But it's probably going to come down to Denver and Golden State, and I'm probably going to have to give that edge to Golden State, at least in a 7 game series. And
I,
I
I
think it's going to come
forgot
down to
Wiggins
Bucks
isn't there.
State.
I forgot Wiggins isn't there, man. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna.
that's what I'm saying.
That's the tough. That is
It's
a
tough. It's
loss.
very tough, dude. But I still think that Golden State has the slight edge over Denver, unless Michael Porter Jr. really steps up come playoffs. Because he doesn't have really a guy like Wiggins guarding him.
Yeah,
So that'd be huge. I
yeah,
And then Jamal and Jokic obviously are they got to do their thing. Aaron Gordon, who's been great for them all year.
yeah. He's been big
But
time.
I mean, I still even without Wiggins, I might still give the edge to Golden State just because it's Golden State. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I'm gonna have to agree with you. I think Milwaukee's probably gonna come up on top no matter what, whoever they play against, because there's no guarding Giannis, and
Yeah.
as long as he's
Yeah.
playing, dude, I
That
mean,
that I'm definitely like I'm sold on Milwaukee for sure, dude. Like, but the West is tricky, man. You got like I change it. Like I said earlier, like I feel
yeah,
like I
it's
should
hard. You could change it every week because of
you know?
how
Like
you could say
I
argue
had
how stacked is. Let's not forget Phoenix, dude.
yeah.
Especially with healthy
That's why
KD.
I had them until he freaking sprained his ankle and I was like at first I was like I have him coming out the West, but by a little, and then he sprained his ankle. I'm like, dude, that's important, bro, because
Yeah,
you need these last 10 games to build that continuity with one another, bro. You need that chemistry. People think you're just rolling with talent and win, you know?
yeah. He's
Like,
only played
you
like a
could go
couple games with
far
them.
with talent. You could go far with talent. But what happens when you run into town in the conference finals or in the finals, and
Mhm.
that talent's been playing together for like what, 4+ seasons? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's a different animal. And that's why I think Golden State's so good because they know who they are. And, Phoenix doesn't know who they are yet.
yeah,
They got a great facilitator, one of the best leaders in the game, and two all superstars, like two of the best scorers, two of the more complete scorers in the league. And you look at that, DeAndre Ayton, but like, like they don't even know, like who are you playing on the floor? Like, how are you? What are your substitution methods? Like, do you put because you have four All-Star caliber guys? Do you sub out D Book and Ayton first, and you leave Chris Paul and KD on the floor, and then you have those two guys sub out and D Book. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
what's your rotations like? You know, what are your best lineups? Like, what's the scheme? Like, what's the game plan? Like, you haven't. I'm sure they've thought about these things. You know, it's the NBA. You know, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
But like, it's different talking about it and putting it down on paper and seeing a team on paper. Like, of course, it looks sexy, but
Right.
when you bring it out on the floor, is it going to mesh? I think they'll mesh well. I think they're going to win a playoff series. Depending who, you know, like healthy Clippers versus a healthy Phoenix. That's a crazy first round. You know,
Yeah.
let's see. I don't know.
We have to see them play, especially with KD. You
Yeah,
know,
got
we
to
have to
do. We haven't seen it enough. He's coming back on the 29th. So what's that? Tomorrow.
Yeah.
So let's see, you know. And damn, dude, the West is different. Like the West, Grizzlies, Sacramento's fine. I don't see them making. Lakers are coming up.
Lakers are
We
coming up.
haven't even
LeBron's
talked about
back.
the Lakers, dude. Like,
LeBron is back.
damn, 1 through 10, one of those teams can really make it out the
Yeah.
West. I mean, not OKC. I don't think Sacramento's it. But
Yeah.
like, bro, you look at the Lakers, the
You think
Clippers.
Dallas has a chance?
As a Knicks fan, I want them to lose so we get that lottery pick. But
Yeah.
come out the West, I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean,
think
at least to make the playoffs.
to make the playoffs, yeah, they're talented enough. But yo, they're that little schedule they got coming up, man. Coming off a 2-L loss,
Yeah.
Charlotte. I know they bounced back last night, but you lose two big ones like that to Charlotte.
Charlotte.
No
Yeah.
LaMelo, no Rozier. Like, bro, they're
No,
out the
Kelly
playoff.
Oubre
They're
Jr.
out.
as well.
They're tied with OKC right now, and OKC's got that tiebreaker for that 10th spot.
Yeah.
But damn, bro, like if we take a look at Dallas's record, I mean, at Dallas's playoff season schedule, Philly, Miami, Atlanta, Kings, Bulls, Spurs, like
Tough.
all of those games, literally all of those games, except for San Antonio, are must wins for all these teams. Philly, not saying, nah, it's not so much a must win because I think they're like really,
Yeah, they're locked in.
I think they're locked into that third seed. Miami's a must win. They want to get that 6th seed still. You know, there's a couple of games they can get that. Atlanta could even get it. And that's the next game. Sacramento, they're fighting with Memphis. They've both been on heaters, Sacramento and Memphis. They want home court advantage.
Yeah.
They'll both have it in the first round, but in the second round, if they both win in the first round, Sacramento and Memphis, that's a second round. That's an exciting second round matchup. And home court would be huge. So Sacramento, you know, damn well's fighting for that. Chicago's still fighting for that plan. They're trying to stay in. I think they'll get it. And San Antonio, they're in that Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes. So, you know, that's a walk in the park for Dallas. But I wouldn't say that because they just lost to Charlotte twice. You don't know with this team. They're great. They're great talented, but that's another team. We talked about Phoenix not meshing. You get bringing Kyrie. It's not going to mesh well. It's not going to mesh. And Kyrie and Doncic, it's not saying Kyrie can't play off the ball, but he's best with the ball in his hands. And so is Luke. That's always been the thing, right? When you have two great guards that can run the show, it's like who does what? How do you play? That's what I don't know. I think they'll make the play-in, but I don't know, dude. I think the Lakers. I like the Lakers over them. Who else is in the bro? I like the Lakers over them. I like the Warriors.
They've been all right. They've been solid.
I think that 7 and 8
They lost
is gonna
Charlotte today though.
OKC, yeah. That's a big loss.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Regardless, I don't think Dallas makes the playoffs. I think Golden State and the Lakers are going to get that 7 and 8. I think it's going to be Minnesota, Golden State, and Lakers 6, 7, and 8. You could switch them however you want, but that's going to be the last 3 teams in the West.
Yeah, I think the Lakers definitely clinched because
just got Towns
back.
Yeah, I don't want to say clinched, but I got faith in LeBron. I got faith in the Lakers. I think they'll come out. I really do.
I'm with you, man.
Yeah, let's see. It's an exciting time, man.
Oh, yeah. And especially with Minnesota having Karl-Anthony Towns back.
Perfect time to get him back, man. Perfect time to get him back. I think Minnesota, we were, a lot of people were rough on them, but they've been quiet and steady.
No, they've been figuring it out over the course of the season, especially without Towns being there for a good majority of it.
Ant has been so funny.
Ant has been on one, man.
He's been phenomenal, bro.
I love his game. He's been great all year.
He's a beast, dude. That kid's a monster. That's definitely his team for the upcoming future. And I have
Yeah.
Towns in fantasy, so that's a tough pill to swallow, but it's the damn truth, you know. And it's the engine of that. He gets them going, bro.
Yeah. 100%,
But Towns
dude.
got it. That Towns definitely. It sucks for Towns because people were like, he's gonna play more of the four stretch, you know, and he had to just get his reps in with Rudy, and he didn't really get a chance enough. You know, 29 games out of 82 was nothing, you know. So like, he hasn't really. He's kind of learning shit on the fly still, but
Yeah.
let's see. I think he's skilled enough to just adapt and just accept like his role as a star and just play however coach needs him to play. I think Minnesota's going to be fine. I don't think they make any noise in the playoffs, but I think they make the playoffs. I'll give them that for sure.
Yeah, man. Um, let's wrap this up with some MVP talk. So,
Yeah,
like, I
bro.
feel like you could say, I mean, I'm not even gonna say it. I mean, it's not really obvious because it's, oh, I'll say it's obvious in terms of like who the two players that like
Yeah,
it could be one of those two.
yeah,
But yeah, man, I don't know. Like, it's really now coming to the end of it, and we got guys like Jokic and Embiid going right at it once again for now the third year in a row.
yep.
But
It's going to
dude,
be like that for a while too.
yeah,
I
honestly,
got damn,
it's tough.
damn, dude. I don't know. It's so hard. Like it was Jokic for majority of the season, and then Embiid just starts going on these
Yeah,
wild, like just this wild stretch of just scoring so much freaking points and just dominated.
yeah,
And since Harden came back, bro, like I think Philly's had the best record in the league.
yeah,
And of course, credit to Harden, man. That's
yeah. And
another
Harden's been
player
out,
to love.
as of recent though a little bit, but
Yeah,
he
I
and
think he just
Embiid's
missed one game that passed, but Harden's been
yeah, yeah.
fantastic.
He
And
missed like
like,
yeah,
but Embiid, man, like
yeah.
Embiid, dude,
Do you
he's
think yesterday's game matters though? Do you think
I
they gave
do,
like
bro. I really do.
because
I do.
he was kind of missing out on the smoke, and I
I
feel like that plays a huge part into like the conversation and a lot of these analysts or
yeah,
whoever's making these votes.
for sure, dude.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah, whoever.
you look at he 24.9 points per game, 1.1 per point one off a triple double, 11.9 rebounds per game, 63% from the field, 39% from three. That's incredibly efficient. Not a lot of volume from three, but still,
Yeah,
and 82% from the line, and 56 double doubles, 29 triple doubles. Nikola Jokic, 67 games played, 67 games started. Dude, the guy's a freaking like one of the greatest offensive talents at that spot. I never seen a center doing what he does. His defense is suspect. Embiid is a better defender for sure, but Jokic is a far better passer. But Embiid can pass the ball. Like people sleep on Embiid's ability to read the floor, play make,
yeah,
and he literally has better handle than Jokic. It just
yeah, hundred
Jokic
percent.
Jokic is just more secure and makes the right basketball play
Yeah,
always, which makes him so good. And another thing, we give all the praise to Jokic. We don't give enough praise to the coaching in Denver and to
oh
the
yeah,
way these guard. Because yeah, he's making the pass, but you got guys running off of screens, cutting hard to the basket. That's how these passes. You need the guy to make
that's
the right
coaching.
read, but yeah, you got to cut hard. If the guy's not cutting, who you passing to? You know what I'm saying? Not to take
Yeah,
away anything from Jokic, because dude, you gotta, bro. His vision is unbelievable, dude. Like you
yeah,
could argue, you could really argue he's the best passer in the NBA and one of the best passers of all time.
yeah.
He's already put himself in that combo. But I don't know, man. I really do think last night matters. Like, why couldn't Embiid rest the next day? Why couldn't Embiid rest the game before? And why
Rest with the
couldn't
smoke, maybe.
yeah, bro. Like, listen, I know he rang up 40 and 20 on him the last time they played, which was big time. Like last time
This is
he put
where it
up four.
matters.
Yeah, he put up. It mattered back then too.
It
But
mattered
if
back
you
then, but more than anything, right now.
exactly, if you would have put 40 and 20, oh my, I think it was 42 and 19 or something like that.
Mm.
If he put that on Jokic, imagine he would have came out and did the same thing or close.
Yeah,
Then it's like, bro, why are we talking about this anymore? I'm that
yeah,
I'm that guy, not this dude. I bust I give him the work every time. every time we play this year. So, and listen, man, Jokic, it definitely mattered. And not only did he bust Phillies, you know what? The game before, he beat the Bucks. And that's the third guy in the MVP talk, right? We talk about 1 and 2. The
Giannis,
third
yeah.
guy, Giannis, he took care of his business against Milwaukee and did it right against and did it to Philly the next game. That's huge, man. And Kendrick Perkins had Embiid, because you're talking about ducking the smoke, right? I hear you quoting him. Kendrick Perkins had Embiid winning, and now he's like, "You're ducking the smoke. I'm gonna remember this come voting time." And he had Embiid all season. It feels like, past couple months, weeks for sure. It definitely matters, dude. I'll give the slight edge. I'll give the slight edge to Jokic, man. Been the first seed in the West. I get it. I believe Philly has a better record than the Nuggets, but they've been taking care of their bit. 51 and 24 for Denver. 49 and 26 for Philly. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to Jokic right now. Better record. For the top heavy teams in the East are better than the top heavy teams in the East is very top heavy, 1 through 4.
Yeah.
So I get it, it's tougher comp, but Jokic and the Nuggets have been the first seed all season long.
Yeah.
Point 0.1%, 0.1 away from a triple double as a center. I'm gonna have to give it to Jokic. Did damage against Giannis and Philly. I'm gonna give it to him for now.
I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one, and for literally just about the same exact reasons. I mean, Denver has been top of the West for pretty much all of this year. Jokic, averaging just about a triple double, as you said, 0.1 assist shy, right? Is it?
Or 9.9.
Literally 0.1 of for assist, yeah. And wow, it's crazy too because he's averaging 24.9, 0.1 averaging of 25, and then 0.1 averaging 12 rebounds.
Yeah.
Anyways, literally just a triple double. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah, literally.
And when he's averaging a triple double, when he's having a triple double in any game, they're winning the majority of those games.
All of them, most.
And that's
I
huge.
think they lost one.
So it shows that exactly. It's showing that his stats matter. That what he's been doing, putting on the floor, is affecting their winning. And
yeah, for sure.
So then when you have a guy like Embiid, though, who I feel like I've been giving a slight edge to as of the past month and maybe a couple months because of how dominant he's been, as opposed to Jokic, where Denver has been losing a lot of games. So I feel like recent play definitely plays a part, especially with a guy like Embiid who missed out on last night's game. All these little things matter.
For sure.
But Denver's still on top of the West. Jokic averaging about a triple-double. I would love to give it to a guy like Embiid because you could argue one of these last 2 years, you could have said that, oh, man, he probably deserved it. But Jokic, I mean, he's just like last year, and I think even the year prior, he's averaging a triple-double. Yeah. And his team is one of the top teams in the West. And a lot of guys, like a guy like Shaquille O'Neal doesn't like when, team play plays into a part into winning an MVP. But I don't mind it because those things matter. I have to say,
most valuable player.
Because you can't give a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's averaging around over 30 a game. You maybe put him in MVP conversation, but his team is fighting for a play-in spot.
Yeah.
So obviously his play hasn't been that much of an effect. Granted, his team is not as good as Denver, but still, So I feel like you have to take team play into consideration. And so for the fact that Jokic and the Nuggets have been top of the West for pretty much all this year, and they have a slightly better record than Philadelphia, who is sitting at 49-26, and Denver, who's 51-24, I have to give it to Jokic. I just think it makes sense. And probably that's how it's going to go.
I think so. And when it races this close, man, every game, these last 10 games matter a lot, bro. They really do. And You know, you didn't you didn't show up to play. I don't know if that was like a message. I don't know what he was trying to do there. Maybe he was hurt. I mean, that's why they say he missed it. But like, damn man, if there was any game to take a night off, that game was not it. That's for sure because he won the matchup between the. It's such a tight race, and he beat the two MVP's teams, the two other guys in the MVP race. He beat their teams. Nuggets been picking it up. They did slack a little bit. Um, they lost a couple. I believe it was like 3-4 straight. Then they won one against Brooklyn to snap that losing streak, and ever since then they've been kind of back on track. I think they're picking it up.
Yeah.
The last 8 games is going to matter for Denver. It's going to matter for the MVP race. And I'll tell you this: if he wins 3 MVPs, he better make the finals.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like that more than anything, especially now that he's 3-time MVP back to back to back. You got to make the finals, at least definitely the conference finals for sure. But I would have to say more than anything, especially if they're healthy come that point of the year, you got to make the finals.
Gotta make the finals, dog. Like, if you're a 3-time MVP, we're talking about Larry Bird, right? Like, that's the last guy that did that. Larry Legend, right? One of the better players to ever play the game.
Yeah.
And Jokic, skill set wise, I compare him to Larry a lot. We talk about Luka's like Larry. He's really not. Luka's more like a James Harden kind of player. Whereas, because, you know, just watch it. Like, watch Luka and watch Larry. You tell me who they, do they play alike? Not even close, Larry was a much slower guy.
Luka, maybe even like Magic too. Or
that's a better comparison. I wouldn't even say that. Maybe the passing alone.
The passing aspect.
The flashy passing, getting like that one pass he had coming out the corner yesterday against a double team in Indiana in front of the Indiana bench, bro. That was like, that's Magic-esque, But I'm talking the play style.
Like Harden, 100%.
Step back,
step back
to the rim. He's not the fastest guy, but he's a big, strong guard with great handle.
Yeah.
And his style of play is also different from Harden's because he likes to post up. Harden really never went for twos and the mid range. It was either a 3 or a layup for him, But Luka's like a modified a bigger, stronger, and slower version of James. I know it sounds like a complete different player, but they're both ball dominant. But if you watch Jokic, he's more like a Larry than Luka is.
Yeah.
And if he wins a 3rd straight MVP, dude, you're in company with Larry Bird, and you don't have one finals, bro. I gave him a pass for these 2 past MVPs.
That's why I feel like more than now, you have to give it. You got to give him that criticism, and he's got to make it.
Now you got to put him on the pedal. Because whoever says Jokic is the best player in the world? Nobody does. Yeah. Like, that's the one MVP where it's like people debate on putting him in the top 5. People still have Kawhi in their top 5. People put LeBron, Kawhi, KD, Steph Curry, Giannis. Like, that's my top 5. I got Giannis number 1, KD 2, Steph Curry 3. That you could flip, whatever. LeBron 4, Kawhi 5. That's mine.
You could even put Luka, a guy like Luka in there.
You could put Luka in there, but I got like Luka, Jokic 6 and 7, and Embiid 8. That's like my 6, 7, and 8 right there. But like Jokic, I mean, not saying Jokic isn't a top 5 talent. Everybody in the top 10 is a top 5 talent. They're all superstars, right?
Yeah.
But like,
it's all debatable.
What puts these guys over the top? Getting to the finals.
Yeah.
Winning championships. Like, MVP awards are cool. But like last year, Jokic lost in the first round. We all knew who he was because no MPJ, no Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
Like, that's understandable. You know what I'm saying?
Now that they're pretty much healthy, like there's no.
What's the excuse? No excuse. You deliver. Yeah. I'm not saying he has to win a championship, but bro, at least get to the finals, or at the very least, game 7 of a Western Conference Finals. Like, make a deep push, bro. Show that you're an MVP. 100%. For me personally, get to the finals.
100%.
Even win one. Win it.
If you win it all.
If you win it all and you won 3 straight MVPs, now that's when people like, he's the best player in the world. It's crazy how it can switch. Last year, Steph Curry's the best player on the planet. The year before that, Giannis the best player in the world. It just, whoever's relevant and on top, man. Like that's why I say like I stopped comparing the whole superstar thing. Like if you have a superstar on your team, can you construct a perfect team around him? If you can win a championship, you know.
Yeah,
Let's
100%
see though.
agree.
But let's see.
I'm looking forward to these playoffs. We'll see who comes out on top for the MVP, and obviously the title as well. But yeah, man, well, it's gonna be a very exciting playoffs, and I think it's gonna be a really good one.
Yeah,
But I'd like to thank you for coming on my podcast once again. I really
for,
appreciate it, man.
for
Love having
sure,
you
bro.
on, and definitely gotta have you on again soon, whatever.
For sure,
And
man. We gotta do a playoff edition, man. We gotta
yeah, maybe get one come playoff time for sure. And yeah, we'll see. But again, I really appreciate you coming on to my show. I love having you on, and yeah, man, thank you.
thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
100%, 100%. But yeah, my name is Dan Casey, and you guys are listening to Talking Sports, and I'll see you guys on the next one.